Today, in the delightful joy of YouTube land, we have this. Reverse camera, supposed to be compatible Mk3 Skoda Fabia. In the box, also doing this one-handed, we've got a very long connection lead for the video signal. We have a power wire extender. We have the connector for the radio, and that's going to connect to our video signal cable. This here, which is to take power from the reverse feed, so the red wire and the blue wire there, both connected to the reverse light. Black wire connected to ground. That then plugs on there. So that one, what we'll end up doing on this one is cutting this connector off, joining it with this end. So what we can do is run that right the way through. That will then plug into this, and this is our camera module. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in the box and get the other one out that I've already taken out. Ta-da! So, as we can see here, we are starting to get things prepared. So this cable wants to be joined onto here. This is our camera module unit. So you can see there, it plugs in with the original trunk latch. You can hear that sound there. That's for that. And that will plug in using the OEM connector. This will then replace the door handle we've got on the boot. So from the instructions, don't need the red wire coming off of this one. So they've been snipped off. And what we're going to be doing is using heat shrink on these connectors to make sure that when we're running them through the car, they stay in. Now it says if you want the guidelines on to cut this wire, I don't. I think they look horrendous. So I'm going to leave that connected. And that one there, that's our plug for that one. Again, we'll heat shrink that together, but we'll do that when it's on the car. So to kick this off, you're going to need your Mk3 Skoda Fabia. Now what I'm going to focus on to start with, hopefully if I unlock the car, is getting to, well, the wire I need to. And that's going to live behind this piece here. First order of business, you're going to remove this trim. It is just held in with push clips. That one's off. I'm going to move all this rubbish out the boot, and then we'll crack on. Right, well, we've now got some rubbish moved out of the way here. Very disorganised and chaotic boot, I know. So, in order to get this piece out, we've now removed this top trim. We're going to have two torque screws in there. We're going to have one push clip, you can see just under there. That's going to hold this carrier bag holder. We also have this light, which we do need to bring down and remove. That's easy to do once this is off. Down here in this panel, you're going to have the push clips again, either side. This panel will then come off or come up and out. We're going to need that out of the way to move this. So, when you're removing push clips, your tool on there, pull that out. You don't have to pull it all the way out like I just did and lose it. But yeah, and all that does there, that just pushes these feet out to hold it in. I'm now going to have to go diving in there to retrieve that. I now have these two clips removed from this, and then this one is quite literally just a straight pull up. What you can do is just unseat this, make it that little bit easier. Just trying to get a good purchase with one hand. There we go. It's up that side. That's up this side. This piece is now loose and out of the way. And just like that, with a wiggle, we have the boot plastic removed. If you did want to adjust your boot latch, wiggle, that'll do. That's now exposed this, and what that tells us is we've got push clips behind here. So next up, I'm going to take these bolts out, and again, you can find the right size torque spline. or you can just use any that fit, don't round, because these are only screwing into plastic. So that doesn't really affect. Out there. So that's these two out. As we can see behind this piece is where our cabling runs from the body through into this, and then through up into this portion here. So those, they're out, that's out. The rest of this now is going to be held in by the push clips and then the one you've got up here. So this one up here, to do this one on camera, that in there. There we are, that's popped out. And you should get this one in. It's very hard to do this one-handed on film. There we are. So that's popped out now. And then to remove this, lift it towards yourself, it should fall back. It's now I've got that removed. What you could do is start using a trim tool, start working around any push clips that you find, loosen them off. So ultimately, we're going to have to, because it's got these tie down points in this car, the entire mechanism here, well, entire cover, I'm going to have to shift this way. So to do that, we're going to look at taking the seat out. So you can see there, I've already moved over the little locking lug there. But now what we're going to have to do is take off this metal cover so we can actually fully remove this seat. Again, this is just a Torx screw there. You can see I've cracked it off, and we'll just wiggle this one out now by hand. And this plastic cover that I'm fighting with here, that just quite simply pulls away. This is quite a long screw, well, bolt really, and this one does go into metal, so obviously pick the right one. But then this metal piece here, that should just lift out of the way, and then we should be able to lift this seat out of the way. Now I'm definitely not able to do that one-handed. And as you can see, it was quite simple there. So it just sits in there with the metal piece here over the top, obviously screw side there, like so. That's removed. It's always a good idea when doing things like this to keep bolts and keep clips where they go, so then you know where they go back. So back in here, obviously now we can see we've got access all the way around. Now obviously you'd be pulling this away because there's room for that one to move away, then you'd be pushing it forward, and then that you'd be able to remove it from the vehicle like that, especially if you get into like rear seat belts or anything. So now, after some gentle working, so when you're prying, you want to make sure you've got the one down here, and the rest should come out. Now this, you can leave plugged in, it will wiggle through that hole, just be patient with it. And that's exposed everything we want here. So we can take the rear light out to make wiring a little bit easier if we want. We can see this comes right the way back here. So our ground point is here, and this is the area in which we want the new module to live. And again, even before we've got to getting or stripping anything out of the radio, what we're going to do, we'll undo this handle, which is this one bolt here. I'll undo that, and I'm going to use our trim tool again to pop the clips out around this plastic and expose the inner workings of the boot. And again, it would be nice if you had a non-marking one, but what I found, if you come to these back corners, you're actually able, because it's quite a loose fit there, just get that in without marking it, and just pop that. And I'm going to work my way around, and I'm going to pop this panel off. So you can see here your pop locations for all your clips, going round, so two up there, going back round. Like I say, if you work from that corner, that makes these nice and easy. Then when this is loose and flapping about, you then got access to those. Do take your time when doing that, because you don't want these clips to get stuck in the body, because then you're going to need like needle nose pliers to then compress them and pull them out. It can be a bit of a pain, and also if you bend any of them or any of them fall into the boot, they're just going to rattle, and you don't want that. So looking at this wiper mechanism now, if you look up, I'll twist around this way, you can see now our boot handle mechanism here. So what we can do, go ahead and unplug that. There's just a little tab on the side there. So we'll unplug that and get this handle ready to come out. Ta-da! So again, this is out. Obviously you want to have checked and measured before that the camera that you're getting is compatible with this. And all I did, try not to show me your reg plate, but in there I just got my little body climb trip tool and just prised away at that corner. Oh, you can kind of see where it was. But again, this is just flimsy plastic, so that'll be absolutely fine if I ever reverted back to using an original door handle on this car. So of course now we have this one, a nice new shiny camera unit. So again, try not to capture too much from your reg plate here, but quite honestly all we're going to do is slip those cables in, feed the rest of the wire in like so. And all we're going to do with this is then push this home, which you can do one-handed there. As we can see, that's a lovely snug fit. And our camera's now installed like so. So now we've got this dangly wire monstrosity. What we're going to be looking to do is feed this along this cable. So what we're also going to do here is we're going to cable tie. You can use loom tape or electrical tape, whatever you want, but I'm going to cable tie this cable onto the other cable, so it doesn't rub on anything, doesn't get in the way of anything, but also we don't want it to rattle. So yeah, it's going to be fun. See, some people go for that side on their retrofits. I'm going to try and utilize this left hand side here. It does feel quite full already, to be honest, so I can see why people do go for this side, but yeah, I think for me, I'm going to focus on this side and yeah, get it fed down through in here. Now, I'm not the first person to have done something like this. I'll make no secret of that. This retrofit has been out for a very long time. This is just me showing you how I'm doing it. So I've got it cable tied up here to keep this thicker connector from bashing onto anything. Cable tied here, but again, so that cable tie won't move. Let's go by that wire. And again, cable tied here, so that it's not tight. And then we've got this connector plugged in. So, but that pin there, if you're pulling it out, that's how you detach it. So you pull that, and you're able to pull the plug. Chaos. So to get this through here, so this is a 3D printer filament, and that's now run through down here. So that's through. I used an endoscope with a very long cable, fed that down through here. I found it easy to go this side of the cable, so let's run that then down, all the way down through, now at the bottom here. So the fun bit, now I found that the 3D, this is just PLA, obviously it's nice thin plastic. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie this end, which has got our power, ground, and this end of the connector there, which I'm going to have to straighten out, it looks like, because I've stood on it. Yeah, so I'm going to fix that, pull it through, and then that should be then coming out here, and we can then work on feeding it through and into the car. So nice little tip when you are doing this, if you just get a little pick tool, push it in there, you can actually move this piece out of the way. Should then allow me to now feed that down. Same goes for this little thing that lives in there for your parcel shelf. Pull that out and you're less likely to fight it. So now that we have got it successfully fed down to this grommet here, now I've got my 3D printer filament. I'm coming back through this grommet here, and as you can see up here, so we've got heat shrink on this connector so it doesn't rattle loose. This side isn't plugged in yet because we're still feeding the other cable through. Yeah, it's coming back down to here. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to attach these to that, pull that through here down into the car, and we're looking to hopefully get it out down here. So you can now see it through there. Just going to try and fish it through on camera. There we have it. So I can pull this through. Take care not to catch it on the actual car, because you've got quite a lot to pull through here. And here we'll see if I made a boo-boo, and yes I did, because I've wrapped it around this. So yeah, I think easiest way to rectify that would just be pop this clip off here, pop this off, move the cable around, and then carry on pulling. So now coming back around to this side, you can see our wires have come through here, just lovely. They're now cable tied to this cable to follow this profile, and that'll come right down to here, which is now where we want to wire in our box that will tie into the reverse signal on here and the ground here. And then that will feed the power back through this, through the boot to the camera. And then also our feed cable has come out here, our camera feed, which will end up running under the trim on this side of the car, right up to the glove box, because that is where the radio is. So, slight change to the whole wiring thing. As you can see, we've got the multimeter out. So what we've done here is we have 4 wires now coming through from this fused relay, passing through. So obviously that ends up being covered by this piece, clips in there so you won't really see it. So have an activation wire. So we did originally have this wired in, as you can see here. I'll probably end up cutting that wire in bit because you don't want those instructions. So now we have the reverse light feeding it as a signal wire. We then have a wire going to ground, so our signal and our signal ground. So now when we put it into reverse, this relay activates. It's got a 2 amp fuse in it, and that is drawing power from the reverse light, not the reverse light, from the rear wiper mechanism, and then it's feeding power back into this. So this is grounded at the ground point. Our signal ground point. Signal live is coming from the reverse feed, which is that one, and then our power from the relay is this one. If I just come around the car to show you here, so this black wire on this blue plug, see I've unclipped it from there, but this black wire there, that is the reverse wiper, and that's an ignition. I need to put that back in somehow, and that's an ignition live. So what I can do is show you that up on the car. So we'll come up here, this plug, obviously this black wire, that's our ignition live feed for the rear wiper. Now could you do all this here? Probably, actually, power side of things. You know, splice into that one for the power, that one for ground, and have the relay actually in the boot as well. Probably, you probably could do that. But yes, that's how it's wired. So now we are here under the dash, glove box out. If you're wondering, 1 screw, 2 screw, 3 along the top, and 1 there. Airbag passenger off. That's for your light. That's to sense that the glove box is open. And this is the bit we want to get to. Because I've disconnected that, I've turned the battery off. And yeah, I'm going to use a radio removal key. Hopefully get this radio out so we can do the wiring necessary in the back of it. So what we've done here, we've removed this quad lock connector. That just pushes up, that pushes out. I'll leave that to dangle there, it should be absolutely fine. Then with this turned around, this little pin here, we'll push that down. That has released this blue connector. So now all I'm going to do is go over to the blue connector we got supplied, and we're going to de-pin that and put those pins into this one. You can see here we've got these two connectors side by side, little feet down on both. You can see on one already plugged in, just here, black to the top, white to the bottom, and then funnily enough, this new one, it's black to the top, red to the bottom. So I'm going to push the pins out of this holder and get them into this connector. So now inserted, it looks like this, and we have our plug coming off of there. So apologies if it's a bit shaky because the stabilization is now off now that we're on here. So this video feed cable now, this one is now ran underneath this channel. Goes up here next to the bonnet release catch. Now I've run mine over the top of the dash structure there, just so now when I do run it across, I can get it up and out of the way of where this glove box wants to sit. But what I can do is get that plugged in, plug in the airbag switch, so the airbag system's happy, plug the radio in, code it till it's got a reverse camera, and then double check that everything works. So here we are, we're loading into VCDS, got the ignition on the car, and what we're wanting is 5F, Information Electrics. Anyway, we're going to come into coding, went along coding helper, see my current coding there on screen. So we haven't got nav, got a microphone and aux, got the telephone stuff. So here in 19-bit 4, we're going to check that we have a rear view camera low installed. So I'm going to come out of the long coding, I'm going to click do it. And there we go, coding accepted. So now I've got it all fitted, got the engine running. So now if we drop it, drop it into reverse, we now get a lovely screen. And because now we've routed the power through a relay coming off the ignition line for the rear wiper, which still works whilst the camera's running, because we've done that, now you don't get that typical thing on these units where if you just wired it straight into reverse light, you'd then not have enough power. This would be all grainy and wavy and cut out under rev. And as you can see, our relay's now just tucked away down there, ready to go. Cheers.